We all know this TV show Pokemon. It was around since the 90s, well, late 90s, early 2000s. I'm sure every kid in the 90s had collected Pokemon cards and even watched the TV series when it was online. Now, a lot of the episodes were pretty nice, and even the Indigo League was when Ash started his journey as a Pokemon master. A young boy named Josh, however, he really enjoyed watching cartoons of Pokemon. However, he used to collect the cards too, and he had played the older games and up to the newer ones such as Scarlet and Violet. However, though, it happened to be something he really enjoyed. He's never met anybody who never seen Pokemon or not heard of it. Every person has heard of Pokemon. Many kids in the 90s and early 2000s would remember Pokemon. However, it was on a Saturday night, and Josh, he was just around 15 years old. He was sitting down in front of his TV looking for something to watch. There wasn't really many good TV shows nowadays to be watching, when suddenly the screen changed to a channel that he's never seen before. It was odd, as his channel had a certain amount. I can't remember exactly, but from what Josh could put it, he and his family did watch TV, but mostly his parents did, just for the sole purpose of just watching stuff just for the sake of it. However, it wasn't until when Josh looked, it was an old cartoon, one he had heard but never had the chance to watch it in a long time. It was an episode of the Pokemon Indigo League. Now, he has seen the whole series back when it first aired, but at the same time, though, he was 15, and maybe this might have been a rerun, but, he hasn't seen the Indigo League, and honestly, he hasn't really paid attention much to watching it as an adult, or a teenager in this case. He hasn't watched it since he was a child. He started watching the episode of the Indigo League, and it honestly wasn't any taking place anywhere in the series of Pokemon in the Indigo League. Of course, it was being made in Japan in 1997, and then in the US and other countries, they finally released it in 1998. However, this episode wasn't any one that he's seen. Maybe Josh did see it when he was younger, but probably just didn't remember the episode name. He was a kid at the time, so maybe he did see it once, but probably doesn't remember much of it. In his 15-year-old mind, he decided to maybe watch it and relive some old nostalgic memories of watching Pokemon, even playing the old games and the old card games. So Josh decided that he would not question and just sit there and watch them, because he was curious after all. Maybe it might have been an episode that no one has seen before. Could have been maybe just a random episode he's seen, but probably missed it because of school. He couldn't remember, since he had a hard time remembering certain things, like TV shows, because he got older and got into more other stuff like Criminal Minds. The episode started off like any other episode of the Pokemon series, but then something strange happened. As the episode progressed, Ash's loyal Pokemon companion Pikachu got lost and separated from Ash and his friends. Josh couldn't believe it. How could have this happened? Pikachu had been with Ash since the very beginning, and now he got lost and he's gone. Of course, Josh was so transfixated on the screen, determined to find out how this story would end. Would Ash find Pikachu and bring him home before Team Rocket would find him? The episode progressed as Josh was just at the edge of his seat, anxious to find out what was going to happen. The more anxious Josh became, the more he watched. The episode started to unfold slowly. Now, Pikachu was wandering around, and he honestly got lost in the woods. Most would assume that maybe he found something and unfortunately ran straight off the path. That's what happened. As Ash and Misty and Brock were searching for him, trying to get to the next gym, to which it must have been Viridian City. However, that's when Ash decided to have his Pokemon out to see if they can help find him. Of course, Pidgeotto started flying around in circles in the forest, while Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander, or Charizard in this case, started searching everywhere. However, Ash and his gang were really looking for him what seemed like an eternity. But of course, the episode eventually started getting really weird as Team Rocket suddenly showed up and, as usual, tried to capture Pikachu. They managed to catch Pikachu at one point, only for Meowth to get stung by a Beedrill, and he unfortunately dropped Pikachu just as Ash, Misty, and Brock showed up. Of course, the battle with Team Rocket went well, and there was no violence or anything, just typical cartoon Pokemon-style battling. Of course, the episode came unexpectedly, but a happy ending. With some of the old-fashioned detective work and brave rescue mission, with the help of his friends, Ash was able to get Pikachu back, and they finally returned to Viridian City. So, the episode wasn't really strange, but it was one that really had Josh confused as to why was this episode not even related to the episode of Pokemon, the storyline. However, Josh sighed in relief and couldn't believe that Pikachu had made it. He had been so worried about the little guy throughout the whole episode, thinking Team Rocket would finally capture Pikachu and win, and then having Ash and his gang doomed. Honestly, that's what the whole point what Team Rocket was doing, but however, they got blasted off again as usual when Pikachu used his Thunderbolt. Now, the episode ended on a happy note, but this had made Josh really confused. He decided to see if he can look online to see if the episode had any place in the storyline of Pokemon, but unfortunately that never happened to be the case. When Josh looked online, there was no area of where the episode would be. He typed in the episode and even asked some forums and some people of the Pokemon community, but there was nothing. No information about the episode appeared, and this honestly really made him wonder. Could this be like maybe just a scrapped episode? But how would it be possible since it was aired? It wasn't anything inappropriate for kids, but he honestly did not know. It just wasn't really making any sense since Josh had no idea who or what made this episode. He decided to try to see if anybody in the Pokemon people who made the series happened to write the episode, but they had no information on that. So when Josh told his story about it with his friends at school, all of them were quite perplexed. They weren't sure if they even remembered seeing it as a kid or not. And of course, they were happy that Pikachu at least got back to his friends alive. But of course, that was just the case because they were not sure if they remembered seeing that episode. In fact, that episode never appeared to be any part of the storyline of the Indigo League. Even forums of Pokemon fans, even forums and stuff like that, but there was no information on the episode. All could really what happened been to be the case for, well, you can tell Josh that whatever happened to be the case might be a mystery, but Josh couldn't even remember if he ever saw this as a kid or not. He might have saw it, but probably just don't remember. But I guess the only thing he could come up with is maybe his imagination was running wild with things.